p.m. and we've returned from our executive session to continue with our opening items. Thank you to the board for your flexibility on that, and I'm going to, if possible, pick up with my board president report. I just wanted to first thank our superintendent. We heard all of those committee reports, and although you may be watching this on YouTube, you may be watching it another day, if you're watching it live, you know that our meeting started just a few minutes late, maybe 7:07 or something like that, 7 minutes late, but it took almost 2 hours for us to get through our first presentation and all of our committee reports. That's because we had 4 committees meet all last week. It was every single day of the week except for Friday. And every committee does have an administrative liaison that our superintendent has assigned. However, I saw our superintendent on every single evening committee meeting. I had, I think, just 1 meeting that week, maybe 2, and I was exhausted. I tried to watch all of them. Our superintendent works all day here and then went to every committee meeting. And unlike me as a volunteer, you are working, and so you had to be continue to be very professional and awake and focused. And I watched some of those meetings on YouTube, and I missed some things because I closed my eyes, or I was eating, or dealing with my children, and I see that you could not do that. So I just want to thank you for your commitment last week. Even though you had assigned administrators to attend, I noticed that you also attended, and so I just really appreciate that. I did want to say that to you.
Thank you so much.
And I did hear from other trustees who said, she's going to every meeting, that's great. So I did want to tell you that. And also, I wanted to acknowledge that you guys did have your superintendent's professional development today. I'm sure you'll tell us about that as well. And I appreciated your commitment to that as well. I just want to encourage our community to continue to pay attention to what your children are doing online. Continue to pay attention to what they are seeing online. The temperature has dropped. We are approaching our daylight savings time, so we're all going to get an extra hour of sleep, thank goodness. But that also means that since it's getting colder, our children are inside more, and they're on their laptops, cell phones, iPads more. So please, please, please continue to pay attention to what your children are doing online, even the very young ones. There are things that pop up and that they may see. So please pay attention to that. I'm also going to ask our community to continue to get out and do your civic duty. Today was election day. I hope that you voted either today or earlier in the previous 2 weeks with early voting, and that you are doing your civic duty of getting out there and vote. We are the product up here of being elected, and we are hopefully doing a good job for you. Either you voted for us or you did not, but either way, your voice is heard in doing your civic duty. So I want to encourage everyone to continue to do that and to come out on December 14th and vote. We have 2 propositions that are going to be up. One for creating a capital reserve fund is not going to cost you any additional monies. We're not asking for. We're asking for the creation of a fund, the permission from our community to create a fund. And then the second proposition, again, is for the addition of a student member of the Board of Education. Of course, they would not be privy to major things like personnel or legal things in that terms, but we will definitely have a student on the Board of Education if you allow it, and that student will lend their voice directly to us, which all of us, it sounds like, really want that permission. So 2 things we need your permission on, and we need you to come out and vote on December 14th. That's it for my report. Thank you. And Dr. Iverson, you are up next with the superintendent's report, which is item A7. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mayers. Yes, today we held Superintendent Conference Day, which we focused on using data to inform our instruction with our faculty and staff who participated in a variety of professional development activities, which included opportunities for them to engage in group discussions, to learn from one another, and to share ideas with their colleagues. I'm a strong believer in the need for continuous learning, and I was really thrilled to see the high level of participation among our administration, faculty, and staff. I'm also pleased to share that I've completed a key part of my listening learning tour, as the virtual session has been held at this point within each of the schools, and I really want the community to know how much I appreciate your feedback that was processed through the Thought Exchange survey. Now, I'm particularly excited for the next group for whom I will be meeting, high school students at Woodlands Middle High School. I'm working with Mr. Smith to be able to meet with the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than input from our students who experience our schools every day, many of whom have been in this district their entire life. I'm excited about that. We're going to hopefully do that in another week or so. And I'm looking forward to then the next round, finishing up some community meetings in the public and be able to come back to the full board and the community with my summary of findings, observations, and trends that surface from these important discussions. Another positive update that I want to share is we're in week 3 of COVID testing, and we have not had one positive case in our district. This success is a direct outcome of the hard work and the very dedicated efforts of our community and our parents and our teachers and staff. And what's more now, as we all are aware, that the FDA has approved the COVID vaccine for ages 5 to 11. The next layer that Greenburgh will begin to explore and experience will have the option to host a COVID vaccination clinic for this age group in partnership with Westchester County Health. So they have reached out to the superintendents. I did have to submit a survey to indicate our interest in partnering, and at that point, that's where the partnership is. We'll get more information. The district will have to show an adequate level of interest among families to proceed. So we're going to be sending a very brief survey out to families with children in grades K through 8. We're working on the details of that. Watch for that. You will be informed, and this will be communicated to you via the website. But I wanted to get the news out to you that that is the next layer of prevention we're going to be implementing here in Greenburgh to assure that our students are safe in our schools. I also want to mention to you that, and don't forget, parents, at any time you can consent for the testing. At any point, you can send us a consent form and start having your child tested every week. Last week, I did a video, and as I stated in my video, that I am firmly committed to communications and making it easy for people to obtain, parents, community members to obtain information from the district. And to that end, my weekly updates will include updates from the principals that you will receive on Friday. I'm working on the update for this week. Look for my weekly update on Friday, which will include a lot of pertinent, useful information. Also, we have made great strides in improving our district website. I hope you have noticed. Several updates and enhancements have been completed with tabs and navigation. That is an ongoing project that we look at every day. We want our communication to you via every venue, every vehicle to be at the level that you expect of us as well as we expect of ourselves. So please understand this work is ongoing, and our team continues to work towards this every single day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Iverson. Next on our agenda is our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Macaluso.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to open up my report by thanking the administration, teachers, and students for welcoming me into their schools and into their classrooms. Since I started here on the 18th, I've had an opportunity to visit schools and chat with those various stakeholders to get a real pulse about the curriculum and instruction process that takes place in our district. And so one of the things that I want to highlight is, first and foremost, that we have a really talented faculty here in the district that's really invested in having students achieve. So with that, there were a couple of asks of the board at the last meeting that I've been able to start collecting some qualitative data on, some of it which we discussed today in the superintendent's conference day. First and foremost is the professional learning communities and the use of that time. And so what I'm finding in general is that our teachers and leaders are definitely using that time to look at student achievement outcomes and look at the data and use that data to inform their practices. That dovetails with the ask of taking a look at our co-teaching programs, in particular those for our students who have IEPs, and also I grouped into that the students who qualify for ENL services, because we do deliver most of our supports for that population through a co-teaching model. And again, in general, teachers are collaboratively planning, using data to inform their practice, and using district-provided materials to deliver instruction. Another piece that I'd like to just go ahead and give a quick update on is we did post for a district-wide psychologist, and so the vision for that with Dr. Iverson's support is to go ahead and have that individual also take a look at how we can integrate social-emotional learning into all of our instruction. We are in the process of continuing to interview for the PPS director and the IB World Languages ENL director. And also taking a look at how our reading data is being used to address the learning loss, and we will do some similar analysis with mathematics as well. And finally, I just want to go ahead and give a quick highlight on some of the viewpoints of the field with respect to the International Baccalaureate program. And so teachers and leaders, again, are committed to that program, and they do feel that at the moment that it is an opportunity for us to provide access for all of our students into developing critical thinking skills. And so we look forward to working together to really take a look at that and enhance some of our practices with IB programming. And that is all from my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Macaluso. And board, please forgive me, and I see Trustee Warner's hand up. I did not ask about questions after Dr. Iverson's report, and now we have Dr. Macaluso. So please feel free to ask questions about either. I see Trustee Warner.
Could you talk to us a little bit about the math coordinator position?
So in taking a look at the data that we collected from our beginning of year ready, so we definitely see that there is a slight disparity between how our students are performing in mathematics versus reading. Mm-hmm. And so there are a couple of things for us to consider with that. First and foremost, that's something that typically happens across the nation. Math scores are generally lower than reading scores. But one thing that we should also think about is whether or not we might want to consider an individual to help support that work. So we do have a reading specialist in the district, and when we took a look at the data, certainly we have to acknowledge that there is learning loss, right? We have children who have been learning remotely for about 1.5 years and have been, in homes, and so while our reading learning loss is definitely there, it is not as large as our math learning loss. So it is something that with Dr. Iverson's support, we've discussed, and we would ask for consideration in thinking about whether or not a math specialist might help us in that area.
Thank you.
Are there any other trustees with questions either for Dr. Iverson or Dr. Macaluso's report? Trustee Valen?
Sorry, Dr. Iverson, I'm a little confused as a parent. I've heard other parents inquire, so I'll just go to the woman at the top. Are 100% of students being tested weekly of those that have consented, or is it a percentage of students who've consented that are being tested?
All the students who have, we have consent forms on are being tested every week, 100%.
So if those
We're not-
students who've consented have not received a test at school, they should go to their school office and inquire?
Parents who have submitted a consent form have not gotten a test.
In some cases, yes.
I'll have Lisa Raymond speak to that. Because all students and every parent who's consented, depending on when they did, they may be caught the next week. If we got it after the week of the, say we test on Monday, if we got a consent form during a week later, they would be caught up. They would probably take a week to be caught up in the cycle. But from then on, every week, everyone who has consented is tested every week if they elect to do it. Our staff does that, but a lot of students don't have to do it every week. Even though a parent consent, they don't have to have their child tested every week. So some may not even pick up their test, even though they consented. So we may have that happening as well. But yes, if you consented, you can be tested every week. We don't do a sampling.
Okay, thank you. Also, just to follow on that, so it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can sign up and consent to this weekly testing as one of our mitigating strategies,
Yes,
and
you
that will
can.
help detect
Yes, you can.
breakthrough cases.
Mhm.
Okay, and that information is found,
About testing, Lisa, we have it on our website.
Yeah, I
know
believe
that.
it's on the website.
I found the instructions under the COVID-19 tab, but I could not find the sign up here. I had to dig through my emails or through the news feed. I'm just wondering if we could post that in somewhere more readily accessible for those who want to sign up at this time. Or if I'm not looking in the right place.
I will check with the administration, but Trustee Mears just showed me a text message that her children didn't get the test and she consented, and I'm wondering if they're picking it up. Because if they have consented, there's a test kit with their name on it every week in the office where, I think in the high school, that's where they're picking them up, in the office for them to pick up. So I will check with Mr. Smith to see what his procedure is, but if they're not calling them maybe to the office to say, come get your test kit. Students have to pick it up every Monday, have 2 days to return it, and return it right back to the office by Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'll follow up on that breakdown there, but there's a kit for them.
That's in the high school. In the elementary schools, they're handed out to the teachers to have the students put it in their backpacks.
Okay, Trustee Washington?
Yes, just to add on to what Trustee Valen was saying, I would like to also, if you can look into it, and Ms. Raymond, the communication to students, how they're being communicated to come get the test. And if we just think about, it is a scary process, right, to go pick up a COVID test. It's something that sometimes students might not want to do because they don't feel comfortable. And I'm just wondering if there's another, I'm not saying the principal's office is not welcoming and affirming, so please don't say, I'm just saying if there's another place, because even adults, when you call them to the principal's office, right, there's always something in the back of your mind when it's a negative, thought process. And I'm not saying that's what happens here, but I'm just wondering if there's another place where it can be safe and secure, and if someone can be there to talk to the students so that they understand they didn't do anything wrong, this is a positive thing, because we are talking about SEL, and I know we're doing the best that we can, and we have to work with what we have, but I think that component, especially with those middle high school students, and I'm not saying elementary, I'm just saying I know in that when they're more independent to go pick up their test, they might be going left instead of right because of their own mindsets and the negative connotation of, oh my God, I'm scared to even find out if I have COVID. So parents, we could do our jobs at home, and if the school can support that process, especially the middle high school, maybe a different area than just the principal's office. It's a thought.
Well, we'll look into it. I know they're housed in the principal's office. I think the secretary hands them out, but I can look into that.
Thank you so much, guys. That's really helpful, so thank you. Are there any more questions at all? I know I wanted to ask about the AP IB test scores. We did see the IB results from our Genesis year. I know you guys weren't here yet, but we did get the results, I guess, this year for the last year Genesis cohort of IB. And then we also have some AP results from definitely before COVID, but I'm wondering if anyone had taken the AP exams voluntarily, and if we could have those online or not. Maybe there's a reason not to, but I just wanted to inquire about that.
So we are still looking into all of that. I don't think we have an answer for you tonight. I know I've mentioned to the board that this is the piece of work that we're beginning to look at comprehensively. We know we'll be before you before the new year with a report on the IB program, where the status of it, data that you're asking for. We just don't have it now. A big piece of this will be that coordinator or the director that we're going to be hiring for, which we're in the process of looking at resumes today. Dr. Macaluso and I talked about a couple of candidates that he's going to schedule, and we're going to start that interview process. So that's still a missing piece, but it is on our radar to be working on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay, any other questions about Dr. Iverson or Dr. Macaluso's report? And if we have to move on to Ms. Raymond's report. Thank you.
So for the month of September, we had a beginning balance in our accounts of $27,439,761.31. We collected $1,323,542.06 and dispersed $4,671,894.74 to have an ending balance of $24,091,408.63. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Raymond. And next on our agenda, I believe, is an anticipated adjournment into exec session. So this was our planned exec session. It was planned to happen around 8:30, which we were way behind. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. I expect that we would go into this exec session for about an hour and a half. Hopefully, we can get through a little quicker because the time is late. It is now 9:55 p.m. Can I get a motion?
I move that we adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment history of particular persons being considered for board action this evening and at the next meeting.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. We will come out from executive session and vote on the rest of the agenda items, okay? It'll be about an hour and a half. Thank you. I just realized there's only 3 of us. We just need to wait for one more to come back. Open session. Let me know when to go, Steve.
You're ready. You're going.
Okay, great. Thank you. We are back and live. It is 12:35 a.m., so we are extremely tired, but we have gotten through all of our executive session items, so thank you if anyone is watching online and was patient with us. We're going to move on through our agenda to Section B, Personnel Instructional. And can I get a motion, please? Yes, I'm sorry, before I move to that, Ivy?
I'm sorry, there are some amendments?
Oh, there are amendments, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm coming, I'm going to the last page. Thank you. I told you it's late. Okay, work session approvals, thank you, I see now. We have amendments to tonight's agenda. Instructional personnel item B10 is amended to reflect the correct spelling of Miss Fisher's first name to read Ashley. Non-instructional personnel item C3 is removed, and board action item number D6, row 2, is amended to reflect the correct budget code to which the funds will be transferred to read A, 1621.436-01-0000, maintenance-admin-health/safety repairs. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening as amended.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Section C, non-instructional personnel items. May I please have a motion?
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Just a
Was
confirmation
there an
that we
item,
were.
do I have to say as amended?
Correct, that's my question.
As amended.
Okay. It has been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Section D, can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the board action items presented to the board for approval this evening.
As amended.
I second.
David has to say as,
All right, as amended.
okay.
I second.
Great, it's been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carried. All three have carried. Now we're on to number 2, which is our, excuse me? It's closing items, F number 2, which is new business. Is there any new business? The only item that I was going to bring up was the COVID procedures. So, Dr. Iverson, I know you're the only administrator left at this hour. You may not have answers right now, but I would, you are writing them down. Thank you. I definitely want to ask that we look at our COVID procedures moving forward into the winter season. Possibly the numbers have changed. I know that there were recommendations in August across the school boards and across the administrators with the ways to manage transportation, school trips, for example, ways to manage visitors to the buildings. And I'm just wondering if we could look at that again, see what some other districts are doing, but also locally what we want to do. I'm also very concerned about winter indoor sports, including spectators that come into our facilities as well. Is there mask wearing? How do we enforce mask wearing? If we're not going to restrict in any way spectators, that's fine, but are we going to open our buildings to, other events again? Are we going to allow our students to go on trips, short trips? There's a local trip that one of the trustees inquired about at the TDYCC Community Center that involves a college fair. Other districts are going to be there. We were told that our district could not attend, so I am a little curious as to if we look at our COVID procedures, are we going to open up the possibility for our students to attend things like that, the college fairs? That may involve a short trip to a community center in the district. So, could you please?
Something that's happening now or in the
So
winter?
That is happening.
I haven't seen that.
Trustee Thomas, as the community engagement liaison, did, community engagement committee chairman, did send me the flyer. I can forward it to you guys. He sent it earlier today. It's actually, the college fair is on Wednesday, November 17th. So it's soon. Today's the 3rd.
Is that Theodore
Now
Young?
it's the 3rd, so it's 2 weeks. Huh?
Is that Theodore Young?
It's at the Theodore Young Community Center. My understanding is other districts are going. It's during the day, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., excuse me. So something like that, are students allowed to go?
Well, see, right now, what we do, we'll look at the reopening plan and see what adjustments we want to make with the new data we have and looking at our level of prevention strategies we have in place. I do remember saying when we did the plan in August that we would look at it, you know, continue to monitor and look at it and make changes along the way. So in terms of this college fair, say for November, right now, our COVID plan says we aren't doing field trips. But I hear what you're saying is that, is it time to revisit that? So we will, but my point is we will not have a decision by the 17th. I mean, that's next week or the week after. I will see, they may be, I don't know if they're going. I don't know if the high school even knows about it. I can check on that. But I agree. Is it time to revisit and look at what we can pull back on? I don't know, my superintendent calls, I've not heard about many schools doing field trips, so I don't know where that is. Most of the superintendents I'm on a call with are continuing with their procedures until, like me, they're waiting until, you know, we get a handle on this, the testing, and probably gonna revisit it right before the winter. So, this is something I will check on for you and try to have an answer for you in the update, at least for the 17th, and see where we are with that.
And lastly.
I mean, we have been adhering to our plan, so we have not deviated from our plan, so we've been consistent. So know that, but now I'm hearing you want me to maybe look to see what we can pull back on, because to do this, we have to know that, you know, yes, kids can wear masks and they can go on, if they go on field trips, they're going in environments where I guess they have safety precautions so that they are kept safe and when they come back and they are going back home. So,
I guess we would need to also have parent permission.
yeah, and
I don't know
of
if
course,
you put
yeah.
protocols in place, like maybe only vaccinated students can go. I don't know.
If-
I
If
know-
that's the decision, if that becomes very difficult,
Of
I think,
course, of
because,
course.
you know, we're gonna say only vaccinated and eliminate and not have all kids have that exposure. I mean, I get that, because we want only those kids safe, but, you know, that does eliminate all kids having experiences.
It does, it does.
That's why we've just kind of had no field trips right now until we get a handle on it. I mean, that's something I would need direction, and we can continue to talk about. If we want to have activities for those who are vaccinated, that's a discussion.
I don't know, I'm just thinking of
I know you
different
are,
ways in which we
different
can-
ways. I hear
Yeah.
you. I
So,
understand.
I don't know. I'm
Yes.
sorry, trustee Pineda, I saw
I
you,
thought
oh, you too? Oh. Whoever wants to go first, I'm not sure who had their hand up first.
I just wanted to point out that as everything's being reevaluated, sometimes it's not up to Greenburgh Central School District. Sometimes the facilities themselves might have vaccinated attendees allowed only. For example, most, if not all places in the city, and that could impact anyone participating in particular
true.
sports that might need to use those venues, or we might have to not go to those venues. So it's not always going to be up to Greenburgh, and I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Warner?
And along the same lines, if now younger students can get vaccinated, there will be a period of time during which many students will become vaccinated. And at that point, if you want to change things on a relatively uniform basis across the student population, you have to take that into account as well.
Yeah.
And that's a safer way to go, because I think we are with the new vaccination, we're gonna start that, they're gonna start with the clinics, vaccinating students 5 through 11. I can see potentially by the winter, having more kids vaccinated where we can really look at letting people in our buildings, more field trips and all. So I've been very cautious. I'm not saying that it was perhaps the best approach, but I just thought it was safe to kind of keep consistent and just kind of watch things as they develop. I just have been very consistent about that.
Okay.
So I'm okay with hearing this, and I certainly want to open up the buildings. I want all the activities to be back in place. I just want to make sure we have the safety precautions in place so we don't open up and have a lot of the students become infected.
Another thing, gosh, I'm afraid to suggest anything because I said vaccination, but then I'm not saying that should be. I'm just coming up with ideas, things that have happened at other schools that I just have been to. Another thing that people have done is I don't know if it's called the Easy Screen, but it's similar to our Easy Screen that we had, that when you go into another school building, you have to turn on your camera and do the code. I forgot the name of the code. It's that little square code. It's late, I'm drawing a blank, but, The QR code, thank you. There's a little QR code you have to put on your camera, and then it pops up with a very quick survey. It's not as long as our Easy Screen was at all. It's a self-reporting 2 or 3 question, and then you give them your email. And then they send you a confirmation. You have to show that to the security guard to get in. So that's another option. I've only done that with athletics when I've gone to the other schools for games. I assume they do that to get in their buildings, period. I don't know if anyone else has had any of these experiences.
Trustee Pineda had his hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mine was about something different, so I'm waiting for you to finish this up.
Okay, I'm all done. Thank you.
Okay. I would like an update. I mentioned it in the past. I've been getting feedback that some of the children are getting cut by the plexiglass dividers. I've heard that still continues to happen, and I know we had talked about potentially taping the edges or something like that, so I'd like to have an update on that when possible as to completion status, and if it's not completed yet, when do we anticipate completing it?
That came up at the Highview meeting, Dr. Iverson, as well, Highview parent meeting.
We will check on that because I've seen the tape around them and so I'll see what happened with that. Thank you.
Yeah, and just some information on that. I have heard that in some buildings we have sanded them, but apparently
we
over
did.
time, they do get sharp again.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe tape, I think is what I heard was one option. Maybe that's better. Thank you.
All right, I just wanted to say one thing, President Mayers. We discussed earlier when we were out here about the after-school busing for Woodlands High School. Dr. Iverson will be looking into it because our Woodlands High School students have their clubs. We would, as a community, some of us as a community would like our students to be picked up by busing, and Dr. Iverson will give us an update from Mr. Gunn or Royal Coach to let the community know what's happening with the after-school buses. Also, I just wanted to commend Dr. Iverson on her first video message. I thought it was so professional. I love the way that you featured our students. It was about our students and their joy of being back in school. Dr. Iverson also came with Dr. Macaluso to the homecoming game, to the football homecoming game, and I do appreciate that. And I do appreciate the data dive that you are doing with our district and the transparency that's starting to happen. And, you know, it's only been, 3 months since July, but you have your team, more of your team now, and I'm commending you on your hiring practices, and I'm really excited about where the district is going, and just continue to do what you're doing, and I will definitely support you, and I know many of the board members will, but thank you for that video message. You look fabulous in it, and the message was great, and our students were highlighted. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
I really appreciate hearing that. Thank you, Trustee Washington. Thank you all trustees.
I
for all the
second it.
work. Thank you.
I
Enjoying
third
the
it.
work with you as well.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Washington, for bringing that up. That is, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. Everything you said was wonderful.
And this week will be a letter, by the way, not a video, okay?
Okay.
Sometimes a video, sometimes a letter.
Wonderful. Any other trustees with any new business or announcements or anything? No? Okay. So can I get a motion to adjourn this
No.
meeting, please?
No, I'm sorry.
No? No, not at
I
all.
don't want to stay another hour, but Section E, review items for next meeting, I do have a point in there.
I'm sorry?
The Section E, review agenda items for next meeting, which we skipped over. I'm sorry.
A, B, C, D, E. I don't have E here.
I don't have a page
Am I
number.
missing E, Ivy?
It's
Oh.
The work session, we review the items.
You know what? You have to go back. Okay.
review agenda
Thank you.
items
I'm
for
sorry.
next meeting.
No, don't be sorry. We need to go through, the agenda items for next meeting, but for some reason, Ivy, I don't have that as a option here.
Right. We're just reviewing, we're not approving, so it's.
Okay. No
We're just
worries,
looking.
it's late. Thank you
I've
guys
got
for being
16 and
patient.
41, but
Okay,
that's
it's
my
12:51 a.m. for the public that's wondering why I seem completely confused. Okay, let's go to Section E, review agenda items for next meeting. Number 1 is the minutes for the September 21st, October 5th, October 16th, and October 19th meeting. Number 2 is board policy. We'll be looking at policy number 1110-E, Board of Ed Code of Ethics. Okay, we'll be going over number 3, which is the SECRA Administration Building Mansion Phase 1 Capital Project. Then we'll be going over section number 4, which is the SECRA Early Childhood Program Main Building Phase 1 Capital Project. And then section 5, the SECRA Highview Elementary School Phase 1 Capital Project. Number 6, SECRA Lee F. Jackson Elementary School Phase 1 Capital Project. Number 7, SECRA Richard J. Bailey Elementary School Phase 1 Capital Project. And number 8, SECRA is Woodlands Middle High School Phase 1 Capital Project, all on our next meeting. Then we would have a treasurer's report for September, a warrant report for September, a curriculum contract with Manhattanville College, a curriculum proposal for targeted leadership consulting.
Discussion,
I'm sorry?
discussion, that's what I want to ask
Okay.
about.
You want to have discussion on that? Okay.
I just want to ask, I just want to, were we looking at other options to provide that service, or is this our?
I did try to get service codes, though, couldn't get any. I think I did say, and that this is the company I would like to use, if this is approved by the board, from my experience of working with them. I'm just not. I did say I'm asking the board to consider approving this, because this is the company that I prefer to work with, even though truly I did try to find service quotes and could not. We did reach out, they just didn't get back to us, so, and several times we just didn't get anything back. So, and so there was an effort for that. But, you know, I could find a service quote and work with people I'm not familiar with, or I don't know their work. I do know this company, I know the work that they do, and I know how successful they've been, and you know, if it's my preference, this is the proposal I would like the board to consider. I would like to tell you that we've made adjustments in the cost. If you've noticed, we've cut the days in half, so that, you know, it's not as costly, but again, the days are on-site, and we'll be working with the leaders, and this is around that model to help increase the capacity of our principals around instructional leadership through this leadership framework. That is a distributive model that helps them in the tools and the structures and how to create the systems that enables leaders to be more successful in leading their buildings to improve student achievement. So it works with adults in the buildings, which is my focus this year, as we're looking to improve student achievement. My vision has been around improving the conditions in which we are delivering these services, which means the actions of the adults. And it begins with effective teachers and effective leaders, which we have here. But this is their learning. So this is the one that, of my preference, that I'm asking the board to consider for voting next time, completely understanding it is the board's decision.
I'm happy to support you in your choices for professional development. I just would like an additional piece of information. On the proposed resolution, it says plus reimbursable expenses, and that data wasn't included in our background information, so I was wondering if that could be provided to us before the next meeting.
Okay, where is that?
Information, I'm looking,
Oh, is that in the resolution? Okay.
It says an amount, which I know is now lower than originally
Okay.
proposed, and then it says plus reimbursable expenses, and that information wasn't in the background information, so if we could just get that before the next meeting, I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Valen.
And I don't
I see
have.
trustee Warner.
Sorry. And I don't have the contract in front of me. Just double check the district name.
Yes, that's for that.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Anyone else on?
That's-
Yes? No? Okay, let's keep going. Number 13, which is the PPS contract in Mayapack. Number 14 is a PPS contract with Rise City School District, and that is really it. So, I think.
I
we're at-
move that we adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, I think we're at the end. Can I please get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I
did?
just moved, so.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't hear that's what you said. It's been properly moved and seconded more than once. And is there any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries, and the meeting is over, 12:57 a.m. Thank you and good night.
Good night.